Commander Jake Morrison stood in front of the big screen on his ship. The alien vessel floated in space before them, dark and silent. His crew had just finished a short fight with the strange ship near the mining planets. The aliens had given up without much trouble. "Sir, we need you to see something right now," said Lieutenant Amy Carter. Her voice sounded worried and angry at the same time Jake looked at her face on the screen. Amy was one of his best officers. She never got upset easily. If she was worried, something was very wrong. "What did you find, Amy?" "I can't explain it over the radio, sir. You need to come see this yourself." Jake grabbed his weapon and called for his security team. They put on their spacesuits and walked through the connecting tube to the alien ship. The air inside smelled strange, like metal and something else he could not name. The alien ship was dark inside. Strange lights blinked on the walls. Everything looked different from human ships. The hallways were too tall and too narrow. Jake had to duck his head to walk through some doors. Amy led them deeper into the ship. Her face was pale behind her. "Helmet glass. It's down here, sir, in what looks like their holding area." They walked down a long hallway. Jake could hear his heart beating in his ears. Something was very wrong here. He could feel it. Then they reached a large room. Jake stopped, walking. His mouth fell open. He could not believe what he was seeing. The room was full of small cages. Each cage was just big enough for a child to sit in. There were feeding tubes and air pipes going into each cage. The cages were empty now, but Jake could see they had been used recently. "My God," Jake whispered. Dr. Lisa Morgan was already scanning the cages with her equipment. She was the ship's doctor who studied alien life. Her scanner was beeping as she moved it around. "These were made for human children," she said. Her voice was shaking. "Ages 6 to 12, based on the size. The bio readings show they were used not long ago." Jake felt sick to his stomach. He had seen many bad things in his years in space, but this was different. This was about children, human children. "How many?" he asked. 20 cages in this room," Amy said. "We found 2 more rooms like this one." Jake did the math in his head. 60 children. 60 human children had been kept in these tiny cages like animals. They heard footsteps behind them. Jake turned to see his security team bringing in the alien captain. The creature was tall and thin, with big bug-like eyes and long arms. It moved in a strange way, like it was dancing. "You are the leader of this ship?" Jake asked the alien. "Yes, I am Captain Zek-7 of the Zephyrian research vessel Morning Star," the alien said. Its voice sounded like metal scraping on metal. "Why do you seem so upset?" Jake pointed at the cages. "What are these for?" "Specimens," the alien said, like it was obvious. "Your young ones are very useful for our studies. They learn quickly and adapt well to our research methods." The room went very quiet. Jake could hear the air systems humming. He could feel the anger building up inside him like a fire. "Specimens?" Jake said slowly. "You're talking about human children." "Yes, of course," Zek-7 said. "They give us good data about human development and how your minds work. We need to understand your species' weak points." Jake's hand moved to his weapon. "You kidnapped human children." "We collected them for science," the alien said. "They are very valuable to us. Your young ones tell us much about how humans think and feel when they are scared or hurt." Amy made a sound like she was going to be sick. Dr. Morgan had stopped scanning and was staring at the alien with horror on her face. "How long have you been doing this?" Jake asked. "Many of your years," Zek-7 said. "We have learned much. Your children are weak but clever. They cry often, but also try to escape. Very interesting behavior." Jake felt something snap inside his mind. These aliens had been stealing human children for years. They had been herding them and studying them like lab rats. Where are the children now? Jake asked. His voice was very quiet and very dangerous. The current batch was delivered to our main research center 3 days ago, ZEC-7 said. We will get new ones soon. Your colonies are easy to raid. Dr. Morgan stepped forward. You monster. These are children. Babies. They have families who love them. We do not understand, ZEC-7 said. You have many young ones. Surely you can spare some for the greater good of science. Jake looked around the room again. He saw the feeding tubes and the waste systems. He saw the scratch marks on the walls, where children had tried to claw their way out. He saw the small toys and pieces of clothing that had been left behind. Amy, get me a direct line to Admiral Hayes on Earth, Jake said. Code red priority. Sir, that will take a few minutes to set up, Amy said. Then do it now, Jake said. And get me everything you can from this ship's computers. I want to know every place they've been and every child they've taken. What about the alien captain? Asked Sergeant Dan Phillips. The head of security. Jake looked at ZEC-7. The alien was standing there like nothing was wrong, like stealing. Children was just another day at work. Lock it up, Jake said. And make sure it stays locked up. This thing is going to answer for what it's done. As they led ZEC-7 away, the alien seemed confused. I do not understand your anger. They are only specimens. You can make more. Jake had to stop himself from hitting the creature. Instead, he turned back to the cages. 60 children had been kept here. 60 human children, scared and alone, far from home. He thought about his own daughter back on Earth. She was only 8 years old. The same age as some of the children who had been in these cages. We're going to find them, Jake said quietly. Every single one of them. And then we're going to make sure this never happens again. Dr. Morgan was still scanning the cages. Jake, based on what I'm seeing here, this isn't just one ship. This is a whole operation. They've been doing this for a long time. How long? Years, maybe decades. Jake felt the anger burning in his chest. The aliens had been stealing human children for decades. They had been hurting them and studying them and treating them like things instead of people. Get me that connection. To Admiral Hayes, Jake said. It's time the aliens learn what happens when you mess with human families. Amy worked on her equipment. Connection coming through now, sir. Jake straightened his uniform and walked to the communication station. The aliens had made a big mistake. They had studied human children and thought they understood humans. But they had never faced human parents who would do anything to protect their young. The screen flickered to life. Admiral Hayes appeared, looking tired and worried. Commander Morrison, what's your status? Admiral, Jake said, we have a situation. The aliens have been kidnapping human children. We just found their holding ship. The Admiral's face went very white. How many children, Commander? We don't know yet. But it's a lot, and they're still out there. Jake looked back at the empty cages one more time. The aliens thought they were smart. They thought they understood humans by studying children. They were about to learn they were very wrong. Jake Morrison sat in his captain's chair on the bridge of the UEC Defender. The alien ship was still connected to his ship by the metal tube. His crew was working hard to get information from the alien computers. He had just finished talking to Admiral Hayes on Earth. Sir, we're getting more information from the alien ship, said Lieutenant Amy Carter. She was looking at her computer screen with a worried face. It's not good news. Jake walked over to her station. What did you find? The ship's logs show they've been doing this for 5 years, Amy said. They have a whole system set up. They target small human colonies and ships traveling alone. Dr. Lisa Morgan came onto the bridge. She looked tired and angry. I've finished studying the biological samples from the cages. Jake, these children came from at least 7 different human worlds. The youngest was only 4 years old. Jake felt his hands make fists. 4 years old, just a baby. How many total? Based on the ship's records, this one vessel has transported over 100 children in the last 2 years, Dr. Morgan said. But there are more ships. Many more. Amy pointed to her screen. The communication logs show they talked to at least 16 other ships doing the same thing. They call it the Human Youth Collection Program. Jake had to sit down. Over 100 children from just one ship. If there were 16 other ships, that meant thousands of human children had been taken. There's more, Amy said. They don't just take the children. They study them first. They watch human families for months before they attack. They learn about our habits and our weaknesses. What kind of studying? Jake asked. Dr. Morgan opened her tablet. According to their research files, they test how much pain children can handle. They study how humans react to fear. They try different drugs to see what makes children more cooperative. Jake stood up fast. His chair spun around behind him. They're torturing children. It gets worse, Amy said. They sell some of the children to other alien species. The ones they don't sell, they keep for long-term experiments. What kind of experiments? Dr. Morgan's voice was very quiet. They try to break their spirits. They want to create human slaves who will do whatever they're told. They think if they can control human children, they can control all humans. Jake walked to the big window that looked out at the stars. His reflection looked back at him. He looked older than he had that morning. Get me Admiral Hayes again. Priority 1. Right away, sir, Amy said. While they waited for the connection, Jake thought about what they had learned. The aliens weren't just kidnapping children for science. They were trying to break human children to learn how to break all humans. They were studying the most innocent and helpless humans to find ways to defeat humanity. Connection ready, sir, Amy said. Admiral Hayes appeared on the screen. Her office was dark, except for the light from her computer. Commander Morrison, report. Admiral, it's bigger than we thought, Jake said. We're looking at thousands of children taken over 5 years. Multiple ships, multiple alien species involved. They're not just studying the children. They're trying to break them. The Admiral was quiet for a long moment. Are you certain about these numbers? Yes, ma'am. Dr. Morgan has confirmed everything from the biological evidence. Lieutenant Carter has the communication logs and ship records. What about the children who are still alive? Do we know where they are? Amy looked up from her computer. Admiral, the main research facility is on their home planet. But they also have smaller facilities on 3 mining worlds. Based on the shipping schedules, most of the children are probably still alive. How many are we talking about? At least 200, possibly more, Dr. Morgan said. The aliens keep very detailed records of their specimens. They list every child by age, gender, and what experiments they're doing. Admiral Hayes closed her eyes. When she opened them, her face was hard as stone. Commander Morrison, I'm giving you full authority to handle this situation. Use whatever resources you need. What about the aliens, Admiral? What about them? They think taking our children is normal. They act like we're being unreasonable for getting upset about it. The Admiral leaned forward. Then it's time they learned about human nature. The real human nature. Not the version they think they understand from studying children. Jake nodded. What are my orders? Find our children, bring them home, and make sure the aliens never do this again. And if they resist? Admiral Hayes was quiet for a moment. Commander, every human parent in the galaxy is going to want justice for this. Every human without children is going to want justice for this. You have the full support of Earth Command and every human colony. Understood, Admiral. Heirs? Something else, Admiral Hayes said. I'm sending additional ships to support you. The UES Vengeance and the UES Thunder will meet you at the jump point. Captain Stone and Captain Williams have both volunteered for this mission. Jake knew both captains. Captain Stone had 3 children of her own. Captain Williams had lost his son in a pirate attack 5 years ago. They would fight hard to rescue the stolen children. Admiral, what about the other alien species? The ones buying children from the Zephyrians? We'll deal with them too. One species at a time if necessary. After the call ended, Jake turned to his crew. Amy, I want you to break into every file on that alien ship. Find out everything about their operation. Where they keep the children, how many guards they have, what kind of weapons they use. Already working on it, sir. Dr. Morgan, I need you to figure out what condition the children will be in when we find them. What kind of medical help they'll need. I'll prepare everything we might need, she said. Jake walked back to the window. The alien ship was still connected to his ship. Inside that ship was proof that aliens had been stealing human children for years. They had been hurting them and studying them and treating them like animals. Sir, Amy said, I've found something else. The aliens have been planning something big. They call it the final phase. What's the final phase? They want to attack Earth directly. They think if they can capture enough human children from the whole world, they can force humanity to surrender. Jake felt ice in his veins. When? According to their timeline, in 6 months. They're building a fleet specifically to attack Earth and capture children. Dr. Morgan looked up from her tablet. Jake, there's something else. The experiments they're doing on the children aren't just about breaking their spirits. They're trying to create some kind of virus that only affects humans. What kind of virus? A fear virus. Something that makes humans too scared to fight back. They're using the children's brain chemistry to develop it. Jake realized the full scope of what the aliens were planning. They weren't just kidnapping children for science. They were kidnapping children to destroy all of humanity. They were using human children to create weapons against the human race. Amy, get me Captain Stone and Captain Williams. We're moving up our timeline. Sir? The aliens think they understand humans because they've studied our children. They think they know our weaknesses. They think they can predict how we'll react. Jake looked at the alien ship one more time. They're about to learn that they've made a terrible mistake. They've studied human children, but they've never faced human parents ready for war. What are your orders, sir? We're going to get our children back. All of them. And we're going to show the aliens what happens when you threaten human families. Amy smiled for the first time since they had found the cages. The other ships will be here in 12 hours, sir. Good. That gives us time to plan. The aliens think they're the predators, and we're the prey. It's time to show them who the real predators are. Jake looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, human children were waiting to be rescued. They were scared and alone and far from home. But they wouldn't be alone much longer. The hunt was about to begin. 3 days later, Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Defender. 2 other human ships floated nearby in space. The UES Vengeance and the UES Thunder had arrived as promised. All 3 ships were heading toward the alien home system. Lieutenant Steve Roberts had been working day and night to break the alien computer codes. He looked tired but excited as he walked up to Jake with a tablet in his hands. Commander, we've cracked their entire database, Steve said. What we found is worse than we thought. Jake took the tablet and looked at the screen. There were lists of names, ages, and locations. Human names. Children's names. How many? Jake asked. 437 children taken in the last 5 years, Steve said. The youngest was 3 years old. The oldest was 14. Jake felt sick. 400 children. Some barely old enough to walk. Where are they now? Most are on the alien homeworld in their main research center. But there are smaller groups on 3 mining planets. The aliens move them around, depending on what experiments they're doing. Dr. Lisa Morgan joined them at the central table. She had been studying the alien research files for days. Her face was pale, and her eyes were red from not sleeping. "Jake, you need to hear this," she said. "The aliens have been doing horrible things to these children. They're not just studying them. They're trying to break their minds completely." "What? What do you mean?" "They separate the children from each other so they can't make friends. They give them just enough food to stay alive. They wake them up at random times so they can't sleep properly. They play loud sounds and bright lights to scare them." Jake's hands became fists. "Why?" "They want to create the perfect human slave. A human who is too broken to fight back, but smart enough to do complex work." Steve looked at his tablet. "There's more. They've been selling some of the children to other alien species. We found records of sales to the Kratheri Empire and the Nexus Collective. They're selling human children like animals," Jake said. "The prices are based on age, intelligence, and how well the child follows orders," Steve continued. "A well-trained human child can sell for the same price as a small starship." Captain Rachel Stone's voice came over the communication system from the UE's Vengeance. "Commander Morrison, we're getting close to the alien system. What are your orders?" Jake looked at the star map on the big screen. The alien home system had 1 main planet and 6 smaller worlds. According to the alien files, human children were being held on 4 of those worlds. "Captain Stone, Captain Williams, we need to talk," Jake said. "All senior officers. Conference room in 10 minutes." The 3 ship captains met using hologram technology. Captain Stone appeared as a blue image on Jake's ship. Captain Williams appeared as a red image. Both looked angry and ready for a fight. "We have 437 children to rescue," Jake began. "They're spread across 4 different worlds. We need to hit all 4 locations at the same time. What kind of resistance should we expect?" asked Captain Williams. Steve pulled up another file. "The main research facility on the homeworld has about 200 alien guards. The mining worlds have smaller security forces, maybe 50 guards each." "What about their space fleet?" asked Captain Stone. "According to their files, they have 12 warships in the system. But most of them are designed for capturing civilian ships, not fighting military vessels." Dr. Morgan leaned forward. "There's something else you need to know. The aliens have been using the children in psychological warfare experiments. They force the children to send messages to their families, begging them not to come looking for them." Jake felt anger burning in his chest. "They're using our own children against us." "It gets worse," Dr. Morgan said. "They record the children crying and screaming, then broadcast those recordings to human colonies as a warning. They want other humans to know what happens if they resist." Captain Stone's hologram flickered with anger. "Those monsters, the children, have been trained to be afraid of rescue attempts," Dr. Morgan continued. "The aliens told them that if anyone tries to save them, they'll be killed. Some of the children might try to hide from us when we come for them." Jake studied the tactical display. 4 worlds, 400 children, and aliens who had spent years breaking the spirits of human kids. "Here's what we're going to do." Jake sighed. "The Defender will attack the main research facility on the home world. That's where most of the children are being held. The Vengeance will hit the largest mining world. The Thunder will take the other 2 mining worlds." "What about their fleet?" asked Captain Williams. "We'll announce ourselves when we arrive in the system. If they want to fight, we'll give them a fight they'll never forget." Steve looked up from his tablet. "Commander, there's something else. The aliens have been preparing for a human rescue attempt. They've moved the children to deeper levels of their facilities. They've also set up what they call termination protocols. What does that mean? If they think they're going to lose the children, they plan to kill them all rather than let them be rescued. The room went very quiet. Jake felt his heart pounding in his chest. The aliens were prepared to murder 400 human children rather than give them back. Then we don't give them time to think about it, Jake said. We hit them fast and hard. We rescue the children before they know what's happening. How fast can we move? Asked Captain Stone. We'll be in the system in 18 hours. I want to attack immediately after we arrive. No warnings, no negotiations. We go in shooting. Dr. Morgan stood up. Jake, I've been preparing medical supplies for the children. Based on the alien files, most of them will need immediate medical care. Some might need surgery. How bad is it? The aliens have been doing physical experiments too, testing how much damage a human body can take before it stops working. Some of the children have been seriously hurt. Jake looked at the pictures on Steve's tablet. Photos of human children in alien laboratories. Some were crying. Some looked scared. Some looked like they had given up hope completely. We're going to save them, Jake said. All of them. What about the aliens who did this? Asked Captain Williams. We'll deal with them after we get our children back. Captain Stone's hologram leaned forward. Commander, my crew is ready. We've all seen the files. We know what those things have done to human children. We're ready to make them pay. Same here, said Captain Williams. My people are angry. They want justice. Jake nodded. The aliens think they understand humans because they've studied our children. They think they know how we think and how we fight. They're about to learn that they've made a terrible mistake. What mistake? Asked Captain Stone. They studied human children who are scared and alone. They never studied human adults who are angry and have weapons. Steve looked at his tablet again. Commander, I'm picking up alien communications. They know we're coming. They're preparing their defenses. Good, Jake said. Let them prepare. It won't help them. Jake looked at the star map one more time. In 18 hours, they would reach the alien system. In 18 hours, the hunt would begin. The aliens have had 5 years to hurt our children, Jake said. They're about to learn what 5 years of human anger looks like. The 3 captains ended their meeting. Each went back to their ships to prepare for battle. Jake walked to the bridge and looked out at the stars. Somewhere ahead of them, human children were waiting to go home. They had been scared and alone for too long. But not much longer. The hunt was about to begin, and the aliens were about to learn why humans had never lost a war. The 3 human ships dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the alien system. Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UEC Defender, looking at the alien home world on his main screen. The planet was green and blue, with white clouds swirling. Around it, it looked peaceful, but Jake knew better. Open communications to all alien ships and planets, Jake ordered. Lieutenant Amy Carter worked at her station. Channel open, sir. Jake stepped forward. His voice was calm, but very cold. This is Commander Jake Morrison of the United Earth Space Forces. You are holding stolen human children. You will return them immediately, or we will take them by force. The answer came quickly from the alien planet. A voice sounded like metal scraping on stone. This is Defense Coordinator Vex 12. Your young ones are valuable research subjects. We cannot simply give away our investments. Perhaps we can make a trade. You have 60 seconds to start moving our children to transport ships, Jake said. After that, we will show you what happens when you steal human children. You cannot threaten us. We have superior numbers and strong defenses. Our studies of your young ones show that humans are weak and emotional. Jake looked at the timer. On his screen, 50 seconds. Your threats mean nothing. We have studied your species through your children. We know all your limitations and fears. 40 seconds. You studied our children. You never studied our warriors. The alien voice became angry. We will not be frightened by a few primitive ships. Our research shows that humans give up quickly when faced with superior force. Jake nodded to his weapons officer. Time's up. All ships, weapons free. Target their defense stations first, then move to the surface facilities. Remember, our children are down there, so be careful with your shots. The battle started immediately. Human plasma cannons fired bright beams of energy across space. The alien defense satellites exploded in balls of fire and metal. Their shields collapsed in seconds. How are they destroying our defenses so quickly? Came a panicked alien voice over the radio. Because you studied the wrong humans, Jake said quietly. The alien fleet tried to fight back. 12 alien warships moved to attack the human vessels. But the aliens had built their ships to capture civilian transports, not to fight military cruisers. The human ships tore through the alien fleet like wolves hunting sheep. Captain, Stone's voice came over the radio from the U.S. Vengeance. Alien. Fleet is destroyed. Moving to attack the mining world, designated Target 2. Thunder here, said Captain Williams. Targets 3 and 4 are clear. Beginning ground assault. Jake watched the tactical display as his ships destroyed the alien defenses. The aliens had studied human children for years. They thought they understood human psychology and human capabilities. They were learning how wrong they had been. Sir, we're getting surrender signals from the planet's surface, Amy reported. Too late for surrender, Jake said. Launch the Marines. All teams, go in fast and secure those children. Sergeant Danny Phillips led the Marine assault on the main research facility. His team of 20 Marines landed their shuttles on the roof of the alien building. They blasted through the metal doors and rushed inside. The hallways were full of surprised aliens, running in all directions. The aliens had never faced human soldiers in combat before. They had only seen human children who were scared and helpless. Contact. Front, Phillips called over his radio. Alien security forces are trying to set up a defense. The alien guards had energy weapons, but they moved slowly and seemed confused. The human Marines moved like lightning, working together like parts of a machine. They had trained for this kind of fight their whole lives. Building secured. Phillips reported 10 minutes later. We found the children. Jake felt relief flood through his body. How many? 237 children in the main facility, ages 3 to 14. They're alive, sir. Dr. Morgan's voice came over the radio from the medical ship. Bring them up immediately. We have medical teams standing by. Down in the alien research facility, Phillips and his Marines found the children in a large underground room. The kids were huddled together in the corner, scared and crying. They had been told that if anyone tried to rescue them, they would be killed. It's okay, Phillips said softly, taking off his helmet so the children could see his human face. We're here to take you home. A little girl with blonde hair looked up at him. She couldn't have been more than 5 years old. Are you really humans? Yes, sweetheart, we're really humans. We're here to bring you back to your families. An older boy, maybe 12 years old, stepped forward. The alien said if anyone came. For us, they would hurt us worse. The aliens lied, Phillips said. They can't hurt you anymore. We won't let them. Corporal Maria Santos knelt down next to a group of younger children. What are your names? We want to call your moms and dads. And tell them you're safe. The children started talking all at once. Names and ages and planets they came from. Some had been prisoners for months. Others had been held for over a year. "I'm Kevin," said the 12-year-old boy. "I've been keeping track of everything they did to us. I remembered it all, so I could tell someone when you came." "You did good, Kevin," Philip said. "You did really good." As the Marines led the children to the transport ships, reports came in from the other rescue teams. Captain Stone had found 89 children on the mining world. Captain Williams had rescued 46 children from the other 2 planets. "Total count is 372 children rescued," Amy reported to Jake. "That's most of them, but we're still missing some. Where are the others?" Steve Roberts looked at his computer. According to the alien files, 65 children were sold to other alien species in the last 6 months. "We have the buyer information." Jake felt anger building again. 65 human children sold like animals to other aliens. "We'll get them too. All of them." The alien defense coordinator's voice came over the radio again. "We surrender. We did not know you would respond so violently to the loss of a few young ones." "A few young ones?" Jake said. "You kidnapped 400 human children. You tortured them and sold them and used them for experiments. We did not understand their importance to you. Your young ones seemed expendable. You produced so many of them." Jake looked at the pictures on his screen. Human children walking onto transport ships, safe for the first time in months or years. Some were crying with relief. Others looked too scared to believe they were really being rescued. "Let me explain something to you," Jake said to the alien. "Every human child you took has parents who would burn down your entire planet to get them back. You didn't capture specimens. You declared war on every human in the galaxy. What are your demands for ending hostilities?" Jake looked at his tactical display. The alien fleet was destroyed. Their defenses were gone. Their research facilities were captured. They were completely helpless. You will give us complete records of every child you took. You will tell us who you sold them to. You will pay for medical care for every child you hurt. And you will never enter human space again. And if we refuse? Jake gestured toward the viewport, where the burning remains of alien ships drifted in space. Then you can explain to your people why their planet is about to become a crater. The alien was quiet for a long moment. "We agree to your terms." "Good, because you're about to learn something important about humans. We don't just protect our own children. We protect all children. And there's nothing in this galaxy more dangerous than humans who are fighting for kids." Jake watched the last transport ship leave the planet's surface, carrying human children toward home and safety. The aliens had thought they were smart. They had studied human children and believed they understood human nature. They had been very wrong. 2 weeks later, Jake Morrison stood in the medical bay of the U.E.'s Defender. The ship was flying toward Earth, carrying 372 rescued human children. The medical bay was full of small beds, each one holding a child who was finally safe. Dr. Lisa Morgan walked between the beds, checking on her young patients. Some children were sleeping peacefully for the first time in months. Others were awake, talking quietly with the ship's counselors. "How are they doing?" Jake asked. "Better than I expected, Doctor." Morgan said, "Children are stronger than we sometimes think. Most of them will recover completely with time and love." Jake stopped at one bed where a little girl with red hair was coloring in a book. She looked up at him with big green eyes. "Are we really going home?" she asked. "Yes, we really are," Jake said. "What's your name?" "Emma. I'm 6 years old. The bad aliens took me from my mommy and daddy 8 months ago." Jake knelt down next to her bed. "Well, Emma, your mommy and daddy are waiting for you on Earth. They never stopped looking for you." Emma smiled for the first time since Jake had met her. "Will they still love me?" "The aliens said my parents forgot about me." "The aliens lied about everything," Jake said. Your parents love you more than all the stars in the sky." Across the room, 12-year-old Kevin was sitting with a group of older children. He had become a leader among the rescued kids, helping the younger ones and keeping everyone's spirits up. "Commander Morrison," Kevin called out, "can I ask you something?" "Of course. What's going to happen to the aliens who hurt us?" Jake sat down on a chair next to Kevin's bed. "What do you think should happen to them?" Kevin thought for a moment. "I think they should never be allowed to hurt any more children. Ever." "That's exactly what's going to happen," Jake said. "The aliens will never hurt human children again." Lieutenant Amy Carter's voice came over the ship's communication system. "Commander Morrison to the bridge, please." Jake walked to the bridge, where Amy was waiting with a message tablet in her hands. "Sir, we just received word from Admiral Hayes. The other alien species that bought human children have all agreed to return them immediately." "All of them?" "Yes, sir." When word spread about what happened to the Zephyrian fleet, the other aliens decided they didn't want to fight humans over stolen children. Jake smiled. "How many more children are we getting back?" 63. They're being transported to human space right now. That means we'll have rescued 435 of the 437 children that were taken. What about the other two? Amy's face became sad. They didn't survive the experiment, sir. They died before we could reach them. Jake felt anger and sadness mixed together in his chest. 2 children had died because of alien cruelty. 2 families would never see their babies again. The aliens responsible for those deaths will face trial on Earth, Amy continued. Admiral Hayes says the families of those children will get justice. Good, Jake said quietly. Steve Roberts walked up to them with his computer tablet. Sir, I've been analyzing the alien research files. What we found is going to change everything. What do you mean? The aliens kept detailed records of every experiment they did, every technique they used to break the children's spirits, every psychological method they tried. Why is that important? Because now we know exactly how to help the children heal. We know what was done to them, so we know how to undo it. The aliens accidentally gave us the cure for their own poison. Dr. Morgan joined them on the bridge. Steve is right. With the alien research files, we can provide perfect treatment for each child. We know exactly what trauma each one suffered and how to help them recover. Jake looked out at the stars. In a few days, they would reach Earth. The children would be reunited with their families. The nightmare would finally be over. There's something else, Amy said. The Zephyrian government has agreed to pay for all medical treatment for the rescued children. They're also paying for new schools and homes for any families that lost everything while searching for their kids. And the other alien species? They're all paying too. Everyone who bought human children is giving money to help with recovery costs. Jake nodded. It was good that the aliens were paying, but no amount of money could give back the months and years that had been stolen from these children. Captain Stone's voice came over the radio from the UES Vengeance. Commander Morrison, we're approaching the Sol system. Earth Control is asking for our status. Tell them we're coming home with our children, Jake said. As they got closer to Earth, more human ships joined their group. Military vessels, hospital, ships and transport ships all formed a protective escort around the rescued children. The entire human fleet wanted to make sure these kids got home safely. Sir, Amy said, we're getting thousands of messages from families on Earth. Every parent whose child was taken is waiting at the spaceport. Jake walked back to the medical bay. The children were getting excited as they realized they were almost home. Some were crying happy tears. Others were talking about seeing their families again. Emma, the 6-year-old with red hair, was standing at one of the windows, looking out at the blue and green planet growing larger ahead of them. Is that really Earth? She asked. That's really Earth, Jake said. That's home. It's beautiful, Emma said. I thought I would never see it again. Kevin walked up to Jake with a serious expression on his face. Commander, I want to thank you. All of us do. You saved our lives. We were just doing our job, Jake said. No, sir. You did more than your job. You cared about us. The aliens told us that humans didn't care about children who weren't their own. They said no one would come looking for us. The aliens were wrong about everything, Jake said. Every human in the galaxy cares about every human child. I want to join the Space Forces when I'm old enough, Kevin said. I want to help protect other kids like you protected us. Jake put his hand on Kevin's shoulder. You'll make a fine officer someday. As the UE Defender approached Earth's orbit, Jake thought about everything that had happened. The aliens had thought they were clever. They had studied human children and believed they understood human nature. They thought humans were weak and emotional. They had been right about one thing. Humans were emotional. But they had completely misunderstood what human emotions could accomplish. They had seen human love and compassion as weakness. They had not realized that love and compassion could become the most powerful forces in the galaxy when someone threatened human children. The ship's communication system announced that they would be docking at Earth's main spaceport in 1 hour. All the children cheered and clapped their hands. Jake watched Emma press her face against the window, staring at the planet below. Soon she would be back in her parents' arms. Soon all the children would be home where they belonged. The aliens had learned an important lesson. Human children weren't specimens to be studied or slaves to be broken. They were the future that humanity would fight and die to protect. And there was nothing in the universe more dangerous than humans fighting for their children. The nightmare was over. The children were going home. And the galaxy now knew that human families were not to be threatened ever again.